are looking at one of the most obtainable AMG products on the market today. This is the 2021 Mercedes-Benz AMG CLA35. There's also a CLA45 and a CLA45S in case this isn't enough power for you. We'll break down what those engines all involve later on. But the CLA is only about 6 or 7 years old in America. It was the first front-wheel drive car that Mercedes-Benz introduced to the States, and it kind of threw some folks for a loop, especially for a premium upscale racing heritage brand like Mercedes-Benz. People were used to rear-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. Well, the CLA35 and the CLA45 all come standard with 4MATIC all-wheel drive. This one has the 4MATIC Plus. Also for 2021, this thing kind of remains unchanged. The only thing that's new really is that there's blind spot monitoring is now standard on all of the CLAs. So that's kind of not a big increase on new standard features, but it is something nice that Mercedes-Benz is throwing in. Initially, the CLA, again, was the smallest car in the Mercedes-Benz lineup, and it was kind of a basic, kind of plasticky interior car. This is a far cry from that. This current generation, the 2021, is longer, sleeker, wider than the initial CLA, so it's an entirely different car, and the CLA is no longer the base entry-level model. The A-Class is. This is about 5 inches longer, believe it or not, than the A-Class. So this, in my opinion, is kind of the perfect middle ground option for the Mercedes-Benz AMG car if you're looking for one. This one stickers for about $54,000. The CLA35 starts around $47,000. So today we'll give you a full review of the outside, a full review of the inside, take it out on the road, show you what it does out on the open highway, what it does on back twisty country roads, and also give you an idea of what this thing sounds like. Here's a fun teaser. Listen to this. An insane sound, right? Before we get going though, please, if you're new to the channel here, subscribe, hit that button below. It helps me out so very much and it doesn't cost you anything. I appreciate all the support so far. Without further ado, as I always say, let's get moving. Before we get going, I want to thank Mercedes-Benz at Sun Motor Cars in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. This is actually a loaner car that I have for the day because my car is getting worked on, and so I figured why not just give a quick review of this car while I have it for a few hours. It's a stunning car. I drove it like 5 miles home. Why not show it off? So visit sunmotorcars.com if you're interested in this car and check it out. Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. They are a brilliant dealership and have beautiful cars. So before we talk numbers under the hood there, let's talk numbers that you're going to need to have in your pocket to get one of these things, right? The base CLA35 starts around $48,900 for 2021. The CLA45, which obviously has more power, starts around $56,400. Now, I mentioned in the intro to the video here that I would go with a CLA35 over the other models just because there's still a lot of power under the hood. You got all the fun amenities on the inside, a really, really nice interior, but you don't have a crazy price tag. If you go for that CLA45 and start adding options and stuff, you're going to be over $60,000 in no time at all, and at that point, why not just go with a C-Class? So keep that in check. If you're buying one of these or you're optioning one of these things out, the price can get away from you pretty easily, pretty fast if you're not careful. So go light, go diet on the options if you do choose to do that. Let's get under the hood. So under the hood here for this CLA35, this has a 4-cylinder turbo engine, 2.0-liter inline 4-cylinder turbo. That's also what the CLA45 has. The difference obviously is the horsepower and the torque. Under the hood here, 302 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque, and a 0 to 60 sprint time of about 4.6 seconds. So it's a quick car. Now, if you opt up to the CLA45, you're looking at 382 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque and a 0 to 60 time of, are you ready for this, 3.7 seconds. Let's talk fuel economy. Fuel economy for the CLA35 is about 23 city, 29 highway, about 4 miles per gallon less versus the base CLA 250. The CLA 45 clocks in fuel economy wise with 20 city, 29 highway. And listen to this, the CLA 45 is not the only CLA 45 you can get. You can get a CLA 45S with a mind-blowing 416 horsepower, which is just insane. I'm not even going to look up the price of that because I don't really care. It's out out of my price range entirely, right? Across the lineup, 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engines, and they all have 4MATIC Plus, which means all the power at some point, if needed, can be sent to the rear wheels. And I want to mention too, the CLA35 has the AMG Speed Shift 7-speed dual clutch transmission, while the CLA45 has the AMG Speed Shift dual clutch 8-speed transmission. So 8-speed for CLA45, 7-speed for the CLA35. Just keep that in mind, different transmissions if you change models. So on this AMG CLA35, we have 19-inch multi-spoke AMG rims with black accents. You can see them right in here. Beautiful wheels all the way around. I don't know, like 20 spokes. I don't know, I can't count that quick. Beautiful to look at. The car looks complete. It looks so much better with bigger rims. Low profile tires here from Michelin. There are cross-drilled vented brakes all the way around with the large AMG specific caliper all the way around as well. Looks really great. They really kind of accent well all of the night package options that this car has. All of it kind of cohesively works together in concert to make a really nice, sleek, sporty, sexy design. So as I said before, the CLA is no longer the smallest car in the Mercedes-Benz lineup. This one is about 5 inches longer than the A-Class, 185 inches long in total, and I really like the side profile. Again, you're going to be wary of that back swooping rear roofline because it will cut into your headroom in the rear seat if you're a taller person, but overall the wheels, the night package, and all the glossy black trim really kind of pair up together perfectly to give this a nice, sexy, sleek, racing style look. Again, 4 doors, so I'm not going to call it a coupe at all. I know Mercedes-Benz wants to do differently. You've got these nice ridges, these nice creases right there on the side that really kind of pull your attention and funnel air to the rear of the car. The glossy black trim right there, the glossy black trim down here at the bottom as well, and you've also got it here around the windows. And did I mention the panoramic sunroof is completely standard across the CLA. Mercedes-Benz does amazingly not require you to pay extra for it. It does come standard. Let's talk rear of this car. It is a beautiful place to be staring at. I gotta say, the back of this car has that large diffuser at the bottom there with the blacked out tailpipes, obviously specific to the AMG, and this night package here on this CLA35, the large AMG emblem right there, a huge Mercedes-Benz star, CLA35. I gotta say, look how fun this looks from the side. It's just so sculpted and so the topography of the rear is just so great. There's bumps and everything everywhere to funnel all of that air and keep your car really planted on the road, and this thing feels supremely planted out on the road. A rear spoiler here as well with these lights, these rear brake lights that wrap around the side of the car. They're of course all LED here on both sides. I love that this kind of trunk, look at this on the side, really it just flows right in to the rear trunk lid. Really tailored, really sculpted. A beautiful job by Mercedes-Benz here, and this thing just sounds amazing thanks to these large exhaust pipes out here. So while we're here at the back, let's check out the trunk. Look at this. This is how it opens. Push in on the star and it pops right on up. A pretty kind of ingenious hidden way to enter the cabin or enter the rear trunk. Only 11.6 cubic feet of space back here. Not a large trunk at all. Perfect for a few overnight bags, a small getaway. There are some nice indented little storage cubbies over here. There's one over here as well, pretty symmetrical on both sides. There is a nice little storage space underneath with you know, some electronic components, some things you'll need if your car needs to be lifted or a tire needs to be replaced, but no spare in this car. But again, only 11.6 cubic feet of space, not a ton of room. The seats do fold down in the rear right here, so if you need some extra space, you do have that ability. As with all Mercedes, the front is advanced and sporty, no exception on this CLA35. A large Mercedes-Benz star in the center with a smaller one up top. You've got an AMG specific grille here, a front lip spoiler at the bottom with a pass-through vent right there, if you can call it that. You've got the parking sensor there built in across the whole front. A really nice front look for sure with this nice silver metallic. I do love that the actual hood is completely detached from the front. Sometimes the grille goes up with the car, sometimes the emblem goes up with the car. This is totally separate and up there with some nice ridges built in, 3 or 4 ridges across the hood there that actually are pretty visible from the driver's seat when you are out on the road. LED high performance lights here in the front. There are LED lights the entire way around this car. Tail lamps, running daylights, fog lights, everything is LED on this car, which is expected for a car that costs this much. So here is the AMG specific key fob for the CLA35. Really glossy black trim, nice heft to it as well. It feels nice to the touch. To lock the car, simply walk up and just push the button, or tap it rather, and the mirrors fold in. The car beeps at you. Pretty easy. To open it back up, just walk up, put your hand in there, and it opens up. And look at this, frameless doors on this car. They actually look kind of cool. Let's get inside. Do a little door check here. Sounds okay, not the greatest sound in the whole world, but it'll do, right? One of the nicest cockpits you'll find in a smaller car. Really decent job here by Mercedes-Benz. They know how to design an interior, and this is certainly no exception to that rule. Let's start her up over here. Obviously, everyone knows how to start a car like this. Push button start. And the screens are 10.25 inches each. 7 inches is the standard. I'm not sure why they're not turning on right this second, but we'll continue on without them for the time being. This specific AMG, the CLA35, has this flat bottom steering wheel with this super nice suede wrapped steering wheel here. The materials on the outside, really great to the touch. And just look how cool that shape is. Flat on the bottom and like almost like a stop sign all the way around. Really nice. You've got the AMG drive unit buttons right here on the actual steering wheel, and you could of course change your driving mode: Sport, Sport Plus. You've got Comfort as well. You've also got Individual, and you've got Slippery, which is obviously a snowflake. How cool is that? But the buttons here, if you've been in a modern day or looked at a modern day Mercedes-Benz review, pretty standard. This side over here and this little switch button, this little tap, this controls this screen when it's working, and this over here controls this screen when it's working. All your normal stuff. You can change all kinds of customization inside the MBUX, Mercedes-Benz UX user experience system. Nothing is really new about that, but this one obviously has some specific AMG features like these massive paddle shifters, which feel really great to the touch, and they stick up for forever. They're huge. Look how far up they stick up above the steering wheel. A really nice job, AMG lettering and badging down here. This steering wheel feels mighty. It feels great in your grip. Let's move over here to the center vents. Whenever the lighting system, whenever you get into the lighting system, you can change. There's like 64 different ambient lighting settings you can change that puts ambient lighting all around the car, and it actually pops up into the individual vents here as well. Really nice dashboard here with stitched front here, a nice soft material. There are wood grain kind of inserts that you can get. This has kind of a brushed aluminum feel. It looks really nice. It kind of accents well with the nice circular vents here. Down below, you can get a wireless charging port right down in here. My other phone is right there now. This is not equipped with that on this particular car. A USB-C port here, some cup holders that you can make larger or smaller depending on your drink. Kind of piano style buttons here for the dual zone climate control. Really nice that there still are buttons available in a car and it's not all touchscreen. Down here, all the different buttons that you would need, kind of some shortcuts and things like that. Dynamic driving mode, Sport, Sport Plus, Comfort, Individual, and Snow or Slippery, as I mentioned before. Over here, navigation radio. This is how you turn on and off the stereo. A nice little hand rest or a wrist rest right here whenever you're navigating and playing with the touchpad. A relatively small center console storage area. It's very shallow. It doesn't go down far at all. Another USB-C port in there as well. Let's talk about these really cool seats. They're like Oreo colored. They're like black and white Oreos, right? Really comfortable. A little stiff, a little too I guess hard is the word. They're not, uncomfortable by any means, but again, with a sportier car, perhaps Mercedes-Benz made these stiffer and firmer than the base car might have. You've got a nice thigh support option here as well. You've got it on this side too, right here for the driver. Let's talk about this side real quick too. Automatic up and down windows on every single window. You've got your different, your parking brake here, light options, and of course the power seat buttons right here for the seats, memory options 1, 2, and 3. There are options for ventilated seats that would go right here. This car just has the heated seats options, but you can see here as the sun shines, really nice stitched side door panels here. Really nice to the touch. I don't believe this is actually leather. This is really kind of high quality, resistant to weather type material, but this down here is leather. It feels really nice to have your armrest right here. Really nice brushed aluminum handles here for the door. Look how nice it looks whenever it sheens and shines. Really cool in the sun, especially with my yellow shirt shirt on, it really kind of looks like gold. There are some plasticky pieces in this car, in this front cockpit, that you'll notice, but they're kind of in areas that maybe are out of the mainstream way. So not a ton of plastic, but definitely some cheaper things, especially like right here on the glove box. It's definitely cheaper plastic. Same on some parts of the handles here on the door, on the inside part. Right here. You probably won't notice it though if you're not a picky person, but also, I want to mention this. This has the upgraded Burmester sound system for like $850. It's such a steal because it sounds so amazing. If you're going to get an upgraded sound system, you want to get it on this car because it's so affordable compared to what it would normally cost. The base model has an 8-speaker sound system. This Burmester is definitely one you want to go with. Okay, so these screens are finally working. I don't know what the heck happened, but they are now working. So you can touch the screen just like this. You can scroll through it down here, or you can use the individual touch pads that are meant for each section. This side over here is for that screen. This side here is for your center gauge cluster. Let me close the door so that message goes away. There it goes. So let's talk about this. So back here, you can also scroll to each one of these sections. So over here, you can scroll through if you just kind of move your mouse over, and then see these little dots up top. Maybe you can't. The little dots up top there, you can scroll through and make whatever you want to be in that circle. There's the mileage. You can change it to your route schedule. You can make it the clock, I believe, right up here at the top. There's the clock, and it also can be your speedometer. Same with this middle section. You can make anything there with those little dots and kind of just fill in whatever you want. It's very, very customizable. Same with the tachometer. You can display whatever you'd like. Tire pressure, boost, your driving modes, all that kind of stuff. And again, all the different driving modes are customizable from right here on this added AMG steering wheel buttons that they've inserted. There's Sport, and it changes the screen as well, obviously. Sport Plus, Sport, Comfort, Individual, and Slippery, and it also corresponds there. Pretty simple. If you've used one of them, you've used all of them. There's also some different traction control over here. I believe this car has launch mode as well. Turn traction control off and go ahead and put the brake the whole way down and then floor the gas pedal, and then you'll have launch mode. We'll do that whenever we take this out for a spin. But also one of the things too I wanted to mention down here, this is kind of what Mercedes-Benz prefers you to use instead of touching the screen, because they do make it kind of out of reach as far as I'm concerned, and they also make it kind of flush, which makes it hard to press what you want, kind of indicating use the touchpad or use this over here. Not much else up here to discuss. Let's get into the back seat. So here in the rear of the CLA35, you can see it right there. My head is touching and I'm ducking. I'm already ducking and my head is still touching the rear roofline. So it's no secret, a swooping rear roofline cuts into your headroom, of course. So that's one of the biggest caveats and the biggest warnings if you're looking at one of these cars. You're going to be, I don't know, hauling around tall people. The back seat is not friendly to them. There's also a large hump down here that is not friendly for tall people in the center seat. But with all those bad things aside, the rear seats nicely designed, really nice place to be if you fit properly, right? Really nice doors. Look at this. Nice, the white and black as well. Back here, a speaker up top, speaker in the bottom. Nice handles to grip onto. The seats here look really, really cool from the back. A little pass-through. Maybe you could like tickle the person's head in front of you and annoy the driver. I do have some decent leg room as far as my knees not hitting the seat. There's only about 33.9 inches of leg room here in the back. Not a ton of room at all. The biggest complaint is the headroom. You do have some nice map lights on either side there, but overall, a really, really comfortable back seat. Nice black and white leather here too. You got a nice little center console as usual with, of course, you've got some cup holders that fold out like little ladybug wings. Just one USB-C port here with some smaller vents. Not the largest vents you ever saw, but they do the trick for, directing airflow to where you want it to be. The back seat, not the largest place, as I said, but let's get this thing out on the road. So out here on the road, I will say it is virtually impossible to not smile driving this thing because it is so much freaking fun to drive and it is so quick. I'm on some kind of residential area streets right now, but the car almost begs you to drive fast. In the center console dash in the MBUX system, I actually have the seat comfort, the seat kinetics on right now. So whenever you hit the gas, the seat kind of hugs you tighter. It's slight movement. It's not like it's going to grip you and hold on for dear life, but it adjusts itself so that you kind of stay in the same position the whole time. You know, if you're further back in your seat, the front raises. If you are braking, it kind of grips you in a different way as well. It's really kind of cool, and you can kind of set it for the passenger and for the driver as well. Right away, you notice the steering super tight, super sharp, almost effortless. It's just so easy to drive and so much fun to drive. The steering wheel with the suede wrapped steering wheel, flat bottom steering wheel, feels great in your hands. You just want to like hold on. I wish I had more hands to grip it with. It feels so good. Put the windows up here, it's a little bit loud. The bumps and imperfections in the road, you do notice more than you would in another car perhaps that isn't as sporty. There are available adaptive dampers on the CLA35 to make the ride more smooth and more comfortable for you, but like I said, there will be some imperfections and uneven roads you will feel in this due to those larger tires and the sportier suspension. But what's also going to be a little bit hampering your driving experience if you're used to a larger car is just that swooping rear roof line. The visibility isn't phenomenal out the sides, out of the rear windows, but like I said, Mercedes-Benz is now making blind spot monitoring standard on the CLA35, and I would bet it's because of that limited rear visibility. So you do have that equipped standard across the CLA35. I will say also too that I just love staring at the steering wheel and the large 20 inches combined of touchscreen or of screen space. It looks beautiful. It's so lit up, and also too that ambient lighting I was talking about. Absolutely beautiful. It looks so much better at night, of course, but even during the daytime you can see it. The ambient lighting, tons of choices to choose from. There's some presets that are already in there for you. Then there's of course the big color wheel that you can choose from as well, and you've got kind of endless options for ambient lighting as you're driving. Let's talk braking. The brakes on this, obviously the larger calipers, the larger brakes for the AMG model, and they grip and stop this car on a dime, as you would expect, and expect no less from an AMG model. The brakes feel phenomenal. No real major feedback from the road other than those imperfections that you might run over or a bump or something like that. But the car, I mean, even the slightest tilt of the wheel makes the car change directions. It's super responsive, and the 7-speed transmission, whenever you're under hard acceleration, definitely has some harder transitions and some harder shifting, but everyday kind of comfort driving like I'm doing right now, the shifts are super smooth, and the car puts out a nice hum even in comfort mode. But speaking of those modes, when you put it into sport or put it into sport plus, you can definitely hear some augmented sound change from the rear, obviously. But it sounds really cool, whether it's fake or not, it still sounds really cool. And passing power, super easy. Oh, instant power, instant power. And it just pulls all the way up to like 6,500 RPM. It really, really does pull. Close the sunroof here. And you'll also notice too that this CLA35, you are much lower to the ground than you would be in a C-Class or a GLA or something like that. So if you like being taller than other cars, this is not the one for you. But also Mercedes-Benz is really, really good at making their cockpits and their cars just driver focused. And I feel like this car was built around me. Like I sat still and they wrapped this thing around me. The steering wheel just feels phenomenal in my hands. The large paddle shifters here too. You've got your big screens to stare at. On some twistier side roads now along the river here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The seats are a little stiff, a little hard, as I mentioned earlier. Driving with that kinetics and that active kinetics working and kind of molding itself as the car speed changes feels better than if it was just kind of stagnant and by itself. But the seats are a little more firm. They're not super soft, so keep that in mind as well. And the seat actually just pumps itself up. It definitely moves and kind of anticipates where your body's going to be positioned, and it tries to kind of compensate for that. It's actually kind of a cool feature. And there is launch mode available on the AMG CLA35, which basically is turn off traction control, floor the gas pedal with the brake also floored, and then let go and you take off. We'll do it here in a few seconds. And relatively quiet too. I mean, I'm not doing any like fast 80-mile-an-hour highway driving just yet. yet, but very quiet car. You can hear the engine, you can hear the exhaust, which I love. It could be louder and I would still love that. Some people aren't big on the engine sound. I love hearing the engine and hearing that whistle from the turbo as it spools up. It really sounds great, especially when you're against like a barrier on the highway and it kind of bounces off and back into your window if your windows are open. It sounds phenomenal. Let's see if I can do it here real quick. Slow down so I get some speed. Ready? Oh, doesn't that sound cool? God, it's addictive. Yeah, this car's gonna get you in trouble. So just fair warning now, the car is meant to go quick. And keep in mind too, this is just a 302 horsepower engine, the 4-cylinder turbo. The 382 horsepower on the CLA45 and the 416 horsepower on the CLA45S. Astronomical. What is that, a jet? Are you going to be in England in 3 hours? Absolutely so much power in a small car. All right, so finally on some back roads that we can do some more enthusiastic driving. Here we go. Oh yeah. Pickup, again, a little bit of a rougher ride, especially with a non-totally smooth road. But woo, pulls through these turns like crazy. The seat continues to hug me and actively move. I'm on a road right now that you could not go fast in many cars on because you'd lose control and pop off the side. Oh man, God. Woo! The steering is just phenomenal. I mean, and there's minimal effort. I'm not a professional race car driver at all. It just ate up that twist and turn effortlessly. Wow. All right, a school zone. I guess I should slow down. Just a phenomenal sound from the exhaust whenever you hit the gas. And little bunny hops like this. Suspension feels firm. The car doesn't bounce and roll anywhere. Oh, it feels great. Yeah, this is really the perfect car for someone who doesn't have a ton of money, but has some money to devote to a higher end car. Smaller, nice power. It'll definitely cause people to look and stare. What do you say we do some acceleration here? All right, we're finally on kind of a straightaway. All right, you ready? Here we go. Get out on the road and hit it. Whoa! Holy Woo! Ah, those shifts are definitely quick. Holy crap. I think my hat almost fell off my head. You can hear those pops from the exhaust out back. This thing freaking took off. I caught up to the car in front of me in like 4.5, 5 seconds, which, you know, I think I hit 70 miles an hour there for a brief moment. Woo, a quick car. God, that feels awesome. That wasn't even a launch control. That was just me kind of hitting the gas and going. I kind of want to try the launch control out here. So let's pull over again, let some people pass us. All right, traction control is off. Come to a stop here real quick. Push the brake, push the gas. Oh my God. Woo! All right. Okay, CLA35. What an insane feeling that was. Oh my God. And the exhaust and the pops out the back just sound phenomenal. And the shifting a little bit more harsh under hard acceleration, like I said, but just an incredible feel. You want to go anywhere quick, this car will definitely do the trick. Whew, so in all, if you are looking for a Mercedes-Benz at an affordable price, and I put affordable in quotes because it's affordable at $54,000 for a Mercedes-Benz AMG model, the CLA35 should be on your list. A perfect combination of small, coupe-like styling with the spaciousness of a sedan, with the absolute amazing power of an AMG tuned engine and brakes and suspension and all of that. This CLA35, the only complaints really that rear swooping roofline and a tight rear seat, and also the price can get away from you if you opt for the CLA45 and above, so just keep that in mind. But an overall winner here. I gotta say a big shout out again to Sun Motor Cars in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania for lending me this as a loaner car. Let me know in the comments below what you like about this CLA35 the most. There's so much to take in, there's so much to like. If you enjoyed this video and it was helpful for you, please smash that like button and subscribe below here to the channel if you're new to Overdrive Reviews. I appreciate all the support so far. You guys have been great out there interacting and liking and subscribing. That'll do it for this review. We'll see all you, like we always do, next time.